This, you will use the same size drill for driving these nails. Sometimes with tacks, I go a size bigger in the shear strake if it's hardwood. I usually use a 16th with tacks if I'm doing a canoe, but I'll go 16th bigger or a next size bigger because they can split otherwise. But the mahogany is soft enough, excuse me, so it's not a concern. And just do a standard layout, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now, we get this on, we're gonna pop this little darling off the molds, and then we're gonna have rivet-o-rama. And I have I think five rivet hammers. So you guys will, plan A. You have your outwale, this line represents your planking going in, then this is the inwale going in, and it butts up against the side of your stem, and then your inwale, your breast hook goes right in here like this. And the advantage of this is that
what the hell is it?
You have full-length rails, and it's a little bit, I'm not going to say it's easier to do, but I've seen, they both have their pros and cons. Plan B is to have the same deal. There's your stem, and then your planking is going to go off like that. Then you have your outwale. So this line here represents the outwale planking, and then your breast hook fits in here, and the breast hook has a joint in it that's cut like this. And this is called a ship splice.
Okay, and your inwales fit in there?
Your inwales fit there. So your inwale will be here, like this. And of course you have a rib right here. This distance right here is the same as the thickness of your rib. And this ship splice is designed, you see a lot of boats where they just cut this a square corner like that. You don't want any squares in a boat. You don't want any hard corners. By doing this ship splice, it allows much more effective transfer of strain. These corners, you'll see there's a lot of boats, and you'll see a lot of boats, a split starts right there. So the ship splice, or a little bit bigger illustration of it. And so your rail is in there like this. And it's basically, this distance here is 2/3, and this little dit right here is 1/3. And if this was a 1-inch rail, this thing would be about 1.5 inches long, or roughly the proportions. And you make this little angle. The other advantage of this is if you have this a 90-degree angle, if you cut it too short, you're sunk. It's just too short, end of story. Fitting this, you shave this off, and it's kind of like fitting the plank into the rabbet. You shave it off, it will sink down a little bit. You shave it off a little more, and it sets in a little bit more. With the square, it's dead nut. See, it's all or nothing. And so I never use this, and frankly, in my opinion, it's really not the proper way to do this. But this little ship splice detail is the way to go. Because it's stronger too. Of course, it gets through fastened like this, and just transfers torque better, and you don't have a 90-degree corner. This corner would actually be a little bit more, about like that. In fact, when we go down to the water tonight, let's go look at my canoe, and you can see this detail. And then the breast hook gets through fastened by big screws going in like this, and it gets bunged through the outer, the outwale.
So that's the outwale.
And we're going to get all that done today.
That right there would be the space. This would be the plank.
Okay.
Right here in the outwale would be out there. If we go down to my boat, we'll look at it. Tonight we're going to have the lobster feed. Let's take a look at this. Then, so you get the outwale on first, the breast hook's in, And this is all while the thing is pulled together a little bit smaller than normal. Now another reason why you put the outwheel on first and screw fasten it is that I've tried doing them both at once, where you put the outwheel and the inwheel on and clamp them together and then drill, and you drive a rivet through the outwheel, plank, rib, inwheel. You have about a 3-inch rivet gets driven right through. This is a giant PITA, because when you're driving, you have it all clamped together, you're banging on it to drive the rivets, the clamp falls off, the thing springs out, you line it back up, clamp it, you go to drive the nail, the nail holes aren't lined up. So I found it's really easier if you just kind of do them one at a time. You fasten the outwheel on, and just is kind of, you know, temporary, there's no real structural strength there. Then you get your inwheel out and you fit it, and then you clamp it together, so you're just kind of dealing with one thing at a time. The other thing is that I give the outwheel, looking at it from the end, a good, I sometimes even make them pretty roundy like that. I have a smoke shade that I use, round bottom, or you can just use your block plane. But you don't want to do this until it's completely installed, and you're going to of course have a rivet going right through here like that, so that plane doesn't work. See, I used to do it on the bench, make it roundy, and then put it up. The problem making it roundy first, it's difficult to clamp. Just you put your clamp onto one side and it slips off. You clamp it right here, you clamp it too hard, you put a ding in it. So I just leave it square stock, get it installed, then when it's on the boat, I knock the corners off. Now I just use my block plane and sand it pretty heavily, because of course you're going to have a rivet head here, so you can't really use, you can use this thing here to knock the corners off, but you just don't want to carve into your rivets. That's just another little detail there. Excuse me?
You'll ruin.
Yeah, well, you'd be hitting copper, so it doesn't really mess it up. But it's not the right way to do it. But I found that leaving your outwheel square